All right, are we live now? Are we actually live? I think I recorded. I was just talking to myself this whole time, like the last 20 minutes, and I did not hit the live button on here. So let's do this again, everybody. I think there's some people waiting, and I didn't realize it. So I've just been here talking to myself about what's been going on in the market today. So how you guys doing this morning? Oh man. It's been kind of a wild ride with the crypto markets obviously have been taking a beating the past couple months especially. Um, and then obviously gold and silver and the other metals as well have been screaming, and it's just been very interesting to see that crypto has not been kind of going along with this ride. So and today we have a pretty brutal sell off in the market, in the stock market today. So we have the Nasdaq down a couple percent almost. Microsoft is probably one of the biggest losers there, almost down 12% yesterday or today. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this ends up playing out. So the metals, they started off moving up higher, but have pulled back just a bit, except for copper. Copper, I can't get over these prices. This is just insane. I never would have thought that silver would have moved as far as it has in such a short period of time. So it's kind of interesting. I'm taking theories as to like what is actually kind of driving these capital flows, right? So you see, this huge move in gold, a huge move in silver, and just these metals in general. Do people are there people with quite a bit of capital that know something that all of us don't know? I know central banks have been buying a lot more gold over the past few years than they have in the past, but what's kind of explaining this parabolic rise of gold and silver recently? So is there actually something kind of sinister going on behind the scenes, or is it just FOMO and people wanting to get in? I mean, the other thing that I find is very interesting that I've been kind of keeping an eye on is the yield on the Japanese government bonds, right? And you don't hear this in like the mainstream media, but if you follow some of the financial news, they've been talking about it. And this is the Japanese government bond market, and you can see it's taken a huge hit, especially since April this year when the tariff tantrums started. But the worry is, a lot of investors borrowed very cheap yen over the years because the interest rates were so low, and then took that capital, invested in higher yielding assets, and this is kind of the carry trade that people talk about that's been going on and on and on for however long Japan had ultra low interest rates for, right? You borrow cheap yen and then you go buy Australian dollars or something that's going to have a higher yield. Now the risk is obviously that if the yen doesn't move and moves against you, maybe you make money off the yield, but then you lose it on the exchange rate. So these trades can unwind very, very quickly and brutally. And I know that both the Japanese central bank and the U.S. central bank has been talking about making sure that the yen rate stays somewhat stable, and I actually think they probably want to. They're trying to get the yen to appreciate a bit. So it's kind of interesting how all these things are kind of playing out, and kind of what's going on below the surface, and are we starting to see some of those cracks forming, today in the stock market with pretty much seeing red across the board with everything, and in the crypto market for that matter. Crypto is, Bitcoin is, at least for now, not proving to be a digital form of gold, right? It doesn't has not move nearly as much uh, this year. Actually, it's probably even negative over the past year compared to gold. But then again, over the years prior to that, Bitcoin moved quite a bit higher compared to gold over that time frame. But we're seeing this completely decoupled, right? If the argument is that Bitcoin is a digital version of gold, we should see some sort of correlation, and it's still in this kind of scenario behaving as a risk asset, kind of like a high beta version of the Nasdaq almost. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'd be curious to hear, what other people's theories are about what's going on here with the gold and silver market. I would think if it was geopolitical concerns, especially with the potential for U.S. to invade Iran, we'd see oil move much higher than it has been, and it really hasn't. It's up a bit off of its low, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, we are way below any sort of extreme periods where there's been, instability or whatever. So, anyway, if you got some ideas, I would love to hear what your theories are on this. So, please drop it in the chat or just comment on this video after the fact, and we can get a conversation going. But okay, given the turmoil that's going on today in the crypto markets, especially, it's red everywhere. I'm curious to hear how you guys are playing this. But let's take a look and see how the market making algo that I'm working on is doing. Um, Hopefully things aren't getting slaughtered. I went ahead and downloaded all the trades. Just from the New York Open till now, I made some changes overnight. I'm not making any changes to the logic of the strategy itself, but I changed some parameters as far as what I am doing as far as the base spread that the strategy is quoting. So meaning, I actually narrowed the spread quite a bit on some of these assets, meaning I'm quoting a tighter spread on it because I want to see how it behaves under these kind of market conditions. So what we have here is Zcash, and the quotes you can see on the chart here that the algo is currently placing. So let's go take a look at the UI for the algo here. So I've got 7, I think, assets that I currently have the algo running on. We got Ripple here. Ripple is one of the ones that I basically I wanted to tighten the spread just to see if I can get it to generate a lot more trades. Now the base spread on this is 3 basis points, so that's the minimum distance between my best bid and ask is going to be 3 basis points. Now, when the market starts getting a bit more volatile, that spread is going to automatically widen. So we can see here that spread has gone up to 9 basis points right now. So we got about 500 trades over the past 24 hours. I downloaded all the trades just since the New York Open because I made some changes around then, and I just kind of want to see how things have performed. Very similar for Solana. I had 3 basis point default set up. It's placed about 930 trades since yesterday. Zcash, it had a pretty good day yesterday despite the volatility. I have a 20 basis point spread set up on this, and it still captured about 200 trades. So that one's been actually performing pretty well. Won't hold my breath until we get a number of different market conditions here, but I like the way that the algo is behaving with this asset. SUI, it's very similar to Zcash in terms of spread that I'm seeing on Paradex and the volume I'm seeing on Paradex, but results are completely different from the algo's perspective. It's only up about 2 basis points and 167 trades here. So I'm kind of scratching my head. Like, I've got the same algo running with similar parameters. It seems to look the same from a behavior standpoint. But clearly, there's something different with the microstructure of this market versus Zcash, that this is generating not the same number of trades even, but the profitability of this is way below what Zcash is seeing. Now, Ethereum is another one that I just is like, I don't even know if I can compete as a market maker on Ethereum and Bitcoin, because you have so much volume here. You have so many established market makers trading this, faster machines, lower cost of capital, like all of that stuff. But I wanted to put in here just to test it out to see how it's going to do. So uh, set this up and running. I just set it up for a 1 basis point spread. So there's like no margin for error on this thing, right? So 1 basis point spread. If my markouts are, a basis point, then I'm going to be toasted, because the maker fees on Paradex are a third of a basis point. So getting in and then out of the trade, you're basically paying 6/10 of a basis point. If I'm quoting a 1 basis point spread and then my markouts are negative on top of that, I'm going to be losing money. But I don't know. I might be surprised by how this thing does. Maybe the toxicity filter that I've added to the strategy is going to filter out um, more bad trades than I'm expecting. Here's another one I've added as kind of a just let's see what happens. This is just a very low volume asset, trading about 200K in US dollar terms on Paradex. Actually, yesterday's volume I think was like 50K. So I'm like, I mean, like either going to be all of the market or I'm just going to get completely smoked on this thing. And right now I'm down about eight basis points. And so we'll pull the stats up from this morning and see how it goes. And then finally, Litecoin. This is another one. I've tightened the spreads a bit on it, and seems to be doing all right. It's another fairly low volume coin, about 400K. But in my opinion, like this is going to be the types of assets to that you'd probably want to be making markets, and you don't want to be competing with, the larger funds that are going to be faster. They got better filters, and if you're playing in those markets, you're basically the exit liquidity there. So let's just take a quick look, go back and see where things are at with the Nasdaq here. It looks like we starting to get a slight bounce maybe. Oh man, this is like I think the data I think the data is there we go. Getting a lot of dropped frames. Okay, let me turn this off. I think the data download from this is just killing my bandwidth with my streaming software here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the the trading results. I downloaded the results from just this morning so far. So it's from the past hour and a half or so. All right, it's telling me now that it's not liking the it's not liking the health of the bandwidth here. So we'll see. It seems to have picked up on my end here. So let's see if YouTube comes back. Anyway, let's go ahead and just check out the results here. So the Python software that I've created here just to like aggregate the stats and do some reporting, I have it set up to just take a look at the fill files. So these are all the fills that I've got, and I've just filtered it out with what's been going on since the New York Open here. So we'll quickly go ahead and just take a look at all the files here. Let's start at the top. Start with Ethereum. And I think the interesting things are going to just be the number of trades, the basis point return, and kind of the distribution of trades here. So 41 fills, and like these, only trading for a few hours. There's not going to be a statistically significant sample size here. So let's see here. So we got a realized P&L of 30 cents, and this is just trading very small account until I'm comfortable enough with this strategy to let it loose on some actual capital. But overall, 5 basis point gain. Most of the trades are at level 0. Let's take a look at the markouts. Not great until the kind of the further out we go. So 120 seconds, we got a positive 3. And not bad. This is heading in the right direction, but we'll see if this holds. So far so good. Ethereum off to a good start. Let's check out Litecoin. 44 trades. We got a 6 basis point return over the last hour and a half. Interestingly, we got some fills at level 2 and level 3. So kind of unusual. I don't see that too much. The strategy, P&L curve is heading in the right direction. We'll see if that holds up. And markouts don't look super stellar here. So mostly negative, except once we start looking a little further out, they get positive. Let's see, Solana. Markouts start negative, move positive the further away we get. We had 80 trades here. And return of 15 basis points. And we got some even further out fills, level 2 and we got level 3 fill as well. So level 3 is like, if you were looking at those bands that you saw where my quotes were, that's like the furthest away from the market. So typically, if one of those gets hit, you're just gonna get blown away because the market's just running away, or it's somebody that just needs to get out now, and then the price is gonna immediately revert again. And that's what you're hoping for, right? So P&L curve looks decent. Looks like a few level periods, but we had a couple of climbs here. And yeah, markouts better the further out we go. So let's see here. This is the interesting one to. This is going to be the interesting one to compare to Zcash. So 26 trades, and we're down 14 basis points. Markouts actually kind of opposite here. In the middle, 30 seconds were positive, but otherwise we're negative. And P&L curve less than stellar, but only 20 trades, so nothing statistically significant at this point. Okay, this is the other experimental one. Low volume coin. And what do we got here? 32 trades, 10 basis point loss. Oh my God. This looks awful. Holy cow. Markouts are horrible. So somebody's just using me as exit liquidity for this, for sure. Like almost at 10, 10 basis points markout for the 30 second time frame, but negative across the board. So I'm just down there giving away free liquidity to anybody that wants it. So hey, if you need to get out of this coin, just hit me up, and I'm willing to sell at a loss here apparently. So this is one that is likely not going to make the final cut for the portfolio unless I can tune my algo enough to trade these lower volume shit coins. Ripple, 32 trades. What do we got here? 23 basis points return. Markouts don't look super great either. We're positive at the longest time frame, but otherwise not great. Equity curve looks gorgeous. Wow, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. All right, I won't get too excited. It's only 30 trades, so I need thousands of these things before I can really form any sort of conclusion. And finally, I took a look at the markouts. Finally, let's take a look at Zcash before we pull them all together. All right, so markouts kind of all over the place here. 3 basis points to the upside, and then uh, almost 3 basis points to the downside for the shorter time frame. So we got 60 trades, surprisingly. This is our busiest one, even though the spreads were the widest. 22 basis point return, and all the fills were at L0 and L1. I'll take a look at the chart. By time, it's kind of flat for a good chunk of it. If we look by trade, it looks pretty good. So, all right, let's throw it all together here and see how things look. So I can do that by just telling it just to look in the folder. It's going to pull all the files together and aggregate them. All right, not bad. I got kind of an extended period here of a very smooth drawdown. But we've got 314 trades. Overall P&L of 47 basis points. So can't really complain about that. 47 basis points in an hour and a half. Let's take a look at just by time. A bit more lumpy. And then let's just take a look at our markouts overall. Yeah, not what I like to see. So probably what I'm going to do is this one is obviously going to go unless I can turn things around. So let's just take this out and see. And for the sake of argument, we can say that all these other ones are gonna would stay in the portfolio. Let's just see how this changes things, if anything. So we're down to 282 trades. The markouts, not bad at the 122nd mark, but still not great. So, but we got a 57 basis point gain. Equity curve doesn't change a whole lot, so it might have reduced a little bit of the volatility, but overall it still looks roughly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with these 6 for now. We'll see how they look at kind of the end of the New York session today. And then actually maybe I'll let this go till the start of the Asian session and kind of just check in on things and see how they look. And then in 24 hours from now, when New York opens again, tomorrow we'll run the numbers again and see how things did. So I'd love to hear how you guys are kind of playing this market with how things have been, especially in just the crypto space. Kind of what strategies you're doing, and anything creative that you might be doing to kind of play the downside a bit more. So hope you guys are having an awesome week this week. I'm going to be live with Paradex on a live stream tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 p.m. Singapore time. So go over to Paradex's X account, and I think you'll be able to pick up the stream from there. So hope you guys are having an awesome week, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Later. Bye.